Do you have any lessons you wish you had learned beforehand? Maybe you wish you had slowed down and enjoyed life a little more when you were young. Maybe you wish you had learned it was okay to cry, or that failure was essential to growth. Haikyuu has taught me a lot of lessons since I started watching it in December of 2019, and Season 4 was no different. In fact, I would say that Season 4 was the season for 2020 in its overarching themes, made up mostly of the match between Inarizaki and Karasuno. And throughout the season, though there were some animation hiccups and wonky frames, I found that the season gave me a significant amount to think about, almost more so than usual. I had been excited for this season for some time, considering it was supposed to be released in July, but was postponed until October. I had heard that the Inarizaki Karasuno match was one of the best matches in Haikyuu, and so I was excited, not only for the outcome of the match and the development and growth of old characters, but for the introduction of new characters and the things that I could take away from the season. These concepts I could consider for myself. And to my surprise, Season 4 brought a contender that challenged Daichi for my favorite character in all of Haikyuu. There's something about characters that don't stand out, that do the dirty work and don't receive all that much recognition for their efforts, that has always appealed to me. Initially, Kida was a very strange character to me. Even though he was the captain of this powerhouse team, he wasn't a starter, unlike all of the other captains seen thus far. So what made him the captain? Was he actually a transcendent player that could direct the flow of the game? Was Inarizaki planning on beating Karasuno quickly and saving Kida's energy for the subsequent round? Maybe he was a specialist that preferred to start on the sidelines to gain information about their opponents. So it was even stranger to me when Takeda-sensei mentioned that Kida was a player they didn't get to see in the videos. Furudate consistently shows a high level of understanding and thematic representation for his characters, both major and minor. Kida is no different regarding the kanji of his name, with his first name Shinsuke, meaning faith or trust and assistance, and his last name, Kida, meaning north. It's interesting that the first thing Kida says about himself is that Karasuno doesn't have to be so guarded, that he's just a substitute, there to hold things over. There's virtually no reason to be afraid of him. However, it is clear that his teammates respect and fear him. In reality, I think most people would take his introduction as false humility or get even more afraid. How many people are going to say something like that and personally be okay with that fact? And when he correctly deciphers his teammates and their rationales for certain actions during the match, it felt even stranger to me. He gave me a feeling I hadn't felt with any other character in Haikyuu thus far. It was clear that his teammates and coach had faith and trust in him, like his first name. Perhaps it is said best by Inarizaki's coach, that guys like Kida show up every once in a while, that they may not be a star, but their mere presence dominates the court. Kida is an above-average player, but has no defining characteristics that make him stand out as a volleyball player, like his athleticism, height, or technique. Yet this confidence he exudes isn't one of arrogance, or one that says he is stronger than others, but of a self-assured confidence. That anything he can do in practice, he can do in matches. Consistency to a T. I doubt it was Furudate's intention, but when I think of the word North, I think of the North Star, which is considered special because it does not rise or set in its position, remaining in the same spot year-round while other stars circle around it. Historically, people have looked to the North Star for navigation and direction, with it being consistent in the night sky. A further observation of my friend Kevin noted that a compass always points to magnetic north. Utilizing both, navigators on the seas often used a compass and the North Star as a means to seek direction and guidance. As the captain, Kida's teammates looked to him for direction in his consistent and observant demeanor. For people with self-assured confidence, it is almost immediately inferred that it comes from experience of some kind. So imagine my surprise when Rintaro revealed that Kita never played in a game until his 3rd year of high school, and that in middle school he wasn't even given a uniform. To be frank, I think a lot of us are like that. We were never given a chance, so we gave up. We never reached something we longed for. Unlike Kita, we weren't consistent. Maybe that's why the flashback showing Kita's past is so compelling. There are more than a few lines that really shook me. For example, when he tells himself and the viewer that you've got to do it every day. Properly. Every day. While it shows him doing mundane things like sweeping, cleaning the bathroom, eating, and practicing volleyball. It reminded me of parts of my past that I have deep regret over. And whether you are religious or not, the thought that someone's always watching really sticks with me on a level that I can't quite explain. My parents, like many other parents, indirectly encourage this pressure. That in the eyes of school, enjoyable hobbies, instruments, etc., the result is all that matters. And if you achieve that result, you've done what you were supposed to do. An A signifies that what you're doing is great, so you should keep it up. When I reflect on my experience in high school, there were so many times that I procrastinated, used shortcuts, quit because it was hard, or didn't put forth my best effort. And while the result was often still a good outcome, I missed out on a lot of growth and potential formation as a result. Sometimes when I would get a good grade on a test without studying hard, it would worry me, because I was afraid my mind would slip back into that mindset, that if I could barely study and get a good result, then it should happen again. Kita's grandmother is right. Someone's always watching. And that someone is you. These memories of mine, combined with Kita's flashback, brought tears to my eyes, like receiving the captain's jersey brought tears to his eyes. That after all of that, after everything that had happened, from doing mundane tasks, practicing, not getting a jersey in middle school, and staying on the bench for not only his first, but his second year of high school, he had finally seen the byproduct of his process. This moment really sticks for myself and many others, because I think to some degree we all want to see hard work pay off, or culminate in something. But the reality is that most of us will never stick with the process long enough to see the outcome. Kita's quote after receiving his jersey is one that has stuck with me since I saw the episode way back in November. So much so that it is in my channel description now. When an adult says the process matters more than the results, kids aren't really going to understand. But I totally agree with the adults. I'm basically built from my daily routine, and results are nothing more than the byproduct. That if I valued the process over the results in high school, things might have gone far differently. That beyond any other lesson that I have learned, and wish I had learned earlier, it would be that the process matters more than the results. Because when your process is good, it will eventually bear fruit far beyond what you are expecting. And the wild part is that those results come from a strong daily routine. They are often nothing more than the byproduct, as Kita says. Kita's words are oddly representative of my journey on YouTube so far. When I started this channel nearly 1 year ago in February, I started making these video essays for myself, inspired by a few others I had watched. I wondered if, perhaps, I could make my own. I've always been a deeply reflective person. I was proud of my work, so I posted some of them on social media and tried to get people I knew to watch them. But very few people actually did. And so I stopped posting on social media, instead telling myself that I would just work at it, do it only for myself, and see what would happen. That I would say what I had to say. And that was that. And things have far exceeded my expectations, with over 400 subs and 60,000 channel views. But if I hadn't expanded my mindset, subconsciously valuing the process more than the result, this channel and the videos I've done may have never existed. The concept of process over results is subconsciously echoed throughout many anime, but especially so in many of Haikyuu's characters, particularly in its two main protagonists. In Season 1, Kageyama and Hinata go through a grueling process to create their first quick, but the result is the growth of Karasuno by leaps and bounds despite their defeat at the hands of Abajosai. In Season 2, the pair completely rework their quick, and despite the challenges in front of them, their hard work pays off in creating a cornerstone attack for the team, leading to Karasuno's victory over Abajosai and eventually over Shiratorizawa in Season 3. In Season 4, Hinata's journey as a ball boy and Kageyama's self-reflection are both extremely difficult processes. Hinata being brought to the bottom again in his volleyball journey, and Kageyama grappling with the meaning of the name Goody Two Shoes. But the subsequent results that emerge as a byproduct culminate in both Hinata's successful receives and the birth of the Serene King Kageyama. And of course, who can forget their combined block to defeat Inarizaki? I'm a huge fan of Kita's view on the definitions of talent and genius towards the end of the season. When the two Inarizaki underclassmen lament that they aren't geniuses, that they don't have talent, Kita interjects that when someone asked him, "You're not a starter, so isn't it hard to have such a genius who's younger than you on the same team?" And that while he couldn't exactly define what a genius was, he definitely understood what they were saying. And in a lot of ways this relates back to Oikawa's quote, and what his coach said to him, that those who are more talented than him have been different since day one. The belief that someone like Atsumu was just born a talented player. But Kita further elaborates on this subject, that if he does things on a scale from 1 to 10, geniuses, like Atsumu, do on a scale from 1 to 20, maybe a more effective or denser 10, maybe they try things from A to Z. That regardless if they mess up, or are hated, cast out, or ignore something that others might consider important, they still end up moving forward. Just like how the process matters more than the result, something about his definition of talent really caused me to reflect on how many times I had given up, because someone seemed so good at something, and yet I had neglected the fact that they may have practiced, experienced, or trained for whatever we were doing. A video game, a sport, academics, music. And like Kita mentions, if you think they're geniuses from the start, then you've lost the match before it's even started. Something that a lot of great figures have, whether athletes, writers, painters, musicians, etc., is that aspect of innovation, and that process of going from 1 to 20, or A to Z. Kita easily cemented himself as one of my favorite characters in all of Haikyuu, and while he wasn't able to knock off Daichi from being my favorite, something about Kita as a character and what he represented was really beautiful to me. If anything, he gave me multiple truths that I wish my parents or someone else had instilled into me when I was young. That the process will always matter more than the results, and that the result should be a byproduct of your process, not the other way around. That saying I'm not good at something without trying it, or at least working at it, is an insult to myself. That even if I am no genius, I can take confidence in myself and the things that I do. That maybe one day, I can be consistent and do things properly. Every day, like Kita. That someday, I can look back on my process, the lessons I learned from it, and be content. Hello everyone, Echoes here. I hope you had a great start to 2021. This video will most likely be the last one for some time as I start my new job next week. I wanted to release this video prior to my job starting, since Kita has been on my mind for the past couple of months since the episode spotlighting him was released. As mentioned in the video, the channel recently hit over 400 subs. I never really expected to get this far, and I'm grateful for all of the support. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, or add it to your favorites. I would love to hear about your thoughts on Season 4 and Kita. A big thank you to James Liam Figueroa, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, for letting me use his cover for one of my favorite Season 4 soundtracks. If you enjoyed his music, you can check out the soundtrack in the end screen here, or his channel in the description. Have a great week, and I hope to see you all again soon.